So here we go again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports. If you haven't already, check out our website or our TV station page, www.bwtmonline.com. Check us out on Facebook, BWTM Online. Check us out on Instagram, BWTM Online. So, first of all, massive shout out to Jessica Mccaskill, who's been a regular on our channel, keeping us updated with her movements. And now she is up against Erica Farias for the WBC Super Lightweight Championship of the World. As we know, the last time we saw Jessica Mccaskill was in Ireland when she fought against the unified champion Katie Taylor, the Olympian Katie Taylor. And in a very, very, very close fight. Jessica Mccaskill wasn't expected to do the things that she did in that fight. And since that fight that Mccaskill had with Taylor, it's still on paper Taylor's toughest fight of her career. Mccaskill's been out for a year, or about a year. Fights that have fallen through. One fight in particular that I do know that Team Mccaskill were chasing was a fight against the UK's IBO champion, Chantel Cameron. And Rick Ramos, in a recent interview, I think about a week ago, he did, the manager and trainer of Jessica Mccaskill, made it quite clear that he wasn't impressed with Chantel Cameron, the fact that she blocked him on social media because they were trying to make the fight. And he made no bones about it that he didn't really suffer. He didn't care too much for her behavior and her attitude. So they've moved on. So they couldn't get the rematch against Katie Taylor. So they take on. So when I found out about this information on the interview, I was stunned. Jessica's been out for a year. She's got a fight in her hometown of Chicago, and then she's taking on. She's moving up in weight, and she's taken on Erica Farias, who is the #1 fighter in her division, in her weight class. So Jessica's moved up in weight to take on the #1 contender. It's all very ballsy stuff, and it's definitely for Jessica. It's a great fight. I think should she win this, it's definitely historical because she'd be the first female fighter to win a world title from Chicago. The other thing would be also it'd be a great advertisement for women's boxing, but the lady from Argentina is definitely not going to let her have her own way. Lots of question marks about this fight. Obviously, Rick and Jessica have told us that they've been working a lot of things in the gym, doing a lot of sparring. They've brought in quality sparring. This is why I found it in the interview. And when you do these interviews and you have the pleasure and the honor of talking to Jessica and Rick live over for an hour, you get to find out a lot more about them, how they work as a unit, and behind the scenes and what their thinking is. Now, Rick, as his manager, as Jessica's manager, had no doubts about making this fight. He said, in his opinion, that Farias is slow of feet and slow of hand, typical sort of sort of Mexican style fighting. She's Argentinian, Mexican style of fighting, or South American type of fighting, come forward type brawler. And he believes that Jessica's got the skills to do the job. And in terms of moving up in weight, he says, as an amateur, Jessica used to fight at that weight anyway. So really and truly, Jessica moving up in weight isn't like she's gonna feel out of place being in the weight division, right? So it's not going to be a big thing with her making the weight. So there's going to be no issues there. Punch power will be will have to be brought in here because obviously Farias has never been knocked out in her career, and she's been in with some tasty opponents. Now, the two defeats that Farias has got on her record, I was looking at them there. Of course, the first defeat she has on her record, I'm going back and let me just bring this up a second. I want to show you something. We go back and see the two fights she's been defeated by. Now, the first defeat she had was back in 2014 against Delphine Pearson. Now, at the time, Delphine Pearson was 28-1. Delphine Pearson Pearson is now 41-1. So I don't know what the opposition's been like, but she's amassed another almost 20 odd fights, or 22 fights unbeaten. Okay, another fight on another name on the record we need to look at here is Cecilia Brækhus, the undisputed welterweight champion of the world, who she also got beat by both ladies. They obviously, you look at Cecilia Brækhus, highly skilled female boxer, and of course it looks like Pearson herself is a highly skilled female boxer as well. So we know that Jessica can brawl. Sophie showed that in the fight against Katie Taylor. Now the questions that have got to be asked is this, and it's just been trying to be as non-biased as possible, even though I want Jessica to win this fight so much, of course. But to be unbiased is to say, well, okay, in this fight, or the fight against Katie Taylor, did Katie Taylor have a bad night? Is Katie Taylor overhyped? Is Jessica Mccaskill world class? All these questions have to be asked, and I guess after the Katie Taylor fight, we'll only know now as she moves up. If she moves up in weight and she goes on and puts a boxing clinic on this girl, it would prove that not only she's world class, but she's an elite athlete and deservingly so a world champion. I've always picked Jessica Mccaskill to become a world champion, but I never thought she would go with this route to become a world champion. Of course, if there's not opportunities, you move up in weight. So she's done just that, like the old school fighters. So, I think for me, this fight is going to be about Mccaskill's speed and youth. Can she get around Farias using her speed and youth? I mean, when I say youth, I mean Jessica, I believe now is 32 years old, which I don't know in women's boxing. Some might say, well, it's getting on a bit. I'm not going to be one to say that. I'm going to say that Jessica's got youth and experience. I'm not so sure. Also, obviously, Farias has got a lot more fights as a champion, but one experience that Farias doesn't have is fighting in the States. She's fought obviously abroad before, but not in the States. So that may have no effect whatsoever. But it might be a great chance for Jessica. If it's tight on the cards, that Jessica can win this. So she's got to use her feet, not allow Farias to set her feet to land punches, in and out, fast combinations, and went up close, tie up. Jessica has got punching power on. She does like a brawl, and Farias' hands are not as fast as Katie Taylor's. But she's got a good chin for Farias, and she can punch. The one punch that Jessica's going to have to be careful of is the overhand right. So one of the ways you can avoid the overhand right is not pulling straight back from punches. So when you throw your punches, you don't pull straight back. You slip to the sides. You slip to your left, or you slip to your right, or you slip inside. But you do not pull straight back, because when you pull straight back, it's the overhand right. That's what Farias' money punch is. So I expect to see Mccaskill using speed, movement, not staying in the same place and letting her hands go. I think it's going to be an exciting fight, a really exciting fight. There are levels to this game, but I don't believe that Rick Ramos would just have stuck Jessica in there for the sake of it. I mean, they're trying to do what's best for women's boxing, and I think it's an interview you should sit down and listen to when you get a chance, because Jessica and Rick, especially this last interview, Rick was talking about female fighters not getting paid enough. But he also said, Rick said, well, if you want to get paid proper, step up. So they're doing great for women's boxing and doing great for the city of Chicago. So I wish Jessica nothing but the very best. Speed and movement. I'd be very surprised if Jessica took the fight to Farias. But, if she wants to make the aging champion, these are in the words of Rick Ramos, she's gonna have to make Farias work at a pace, which means she's gonna have to set a very hard pace at the start, throwing lots of punches, lots of movement, to be able to win this fight. Can Jessica do it? Of course she can do it. Sure, she can do it. And if she were to cause a knockout in this fight, wow. I mean, I wouldn't look at Cecilia Brækhus as a big puncher. A lot of fights go to points. So Jessica's more inclined to have a brawl and have a tear up. But one thing's for sure, Jessica's going to be bringing the bombs, and she'll have faster hands than this girl. So fast hands, faster feet, good footwork. That's what it's all about. She has looked I mean, I've looked at some of the photos of Jessica, and she does look seriously strong, like physically. She looks, Okay, so good morning, Ingram, says Lawrence Williams. Jessica looked strong at the weigh-in yesterday. She did. It's something. Again, when you're looking at somebody, you sit down in your front room and you're watching these people, and you have the opportunity to ask them questions and talk to them, and then they're fighting on a big bill afterwards, and you're part of that promotion. It's a great feeling, So we've seen many people on BWTM Sports and Bayloric TV before that become world champions. We've seen Alexander Usyk become world champion. We've seen Terence Crawford become world champion. We've seen Keith Thurman become world champion. We've seen Tyson Fury become world champion. We've seen Bermane Stiverne become world champion. And the list goes on. Is Jessica Mccaskill going to be the next one to become a world champion? That's the question. Lawrence Williams says that the fight was close. Yes, it was a close fight against Katie Taylor. Very close. Very, very close. Katie's wasn't her that fight against Jessica, but that was a very tough fight. It was. Good night of cards, of course. Happy days, of course. Great evening. What's your predictions for the fight on the fights? Well, I haven't seen enough. To be honest, I've been traveling, and you'll see some of the videos I've been doing, and you'll see some of the mini docs, and I'm traveling again tonight. I'm going to be at a music event tonight, which we'll be filming. But my thoughts are this. Jessica's speed of hand and foot will be key in this fight. And if she can take anything away from the Katie Taylor fight, then she'll have to take that and then some as she moves up to fight this girl Farias. So, Big Bully Miller's fighting tonight as well. Oh, God. I don't know why people pay Big Bully Miller any credit whatsoever. People talk about cherry picking, as I mentioned in another video. Cherry picking. And that is what you call a proper cherry pick. Big Bully Miller should have fought Kubrat Pulev. Pick on someone your own size. Instead, he decides to fight poor Thomas Adamek. Where did they wheel Thomas Adamek from? Like, Thomas Adamek has been shot years ago. He was never a legit heavyweight. He did well as a cruiserweight moving up. He did really well, Adamek. But he's past it. What is Miller doing fighting him? And 317 pounds is an absolute disgrace for a heavyweight. I really, really hope that Adamek either beats him or shows him up. I really do. I hope Adamek outboxes him tonight. It'd be great. It'd be fantastic. Big Bully Miller. I really hope. I don't think Miller's that great a boxer. I think he's okay. I think he's sloppy. Very, very sloppy. He's got some talent there, but just sloppy. Who's conditioning this guy? It's just terrible. Terrible. You were in my home city a couple of days ago. Well, a couple of days ago, if you'd let me know, I did say I was heading out that way. So you should have let me know. We could have met up and had a coffee or a tea or a pint of Guinness. Who knows? I'll be back again soon. There's a show they've got a show on December the 1st, actually. So I'll be in the mini doc. I'll be showing some stuff up there about that. So the other fight that's happening is Bertabev against Callum Johnson. Just some thoughts about that fight is that there's a big difference between knocking out Frank Buglioni and then fighting Artur Bertabev. The difference, the thing about this fight is that they're levels. I think Callum Johnson had a good amateur background. I think he was Commonwealth. I think he did something in the amateurs. I don't know too much about Callum Johnson. I do know that he's heavy-handed, but Frank Buglioni is not exactly the opponent you need to know to find out how big you can punch. So for me, I think you've got to go with Bertabev. But it's levels. Punching power is about levels, isn't it? But Bertabev Beterbiev is a he's a dangerous guy. You know, the guy I wouldn't mind seeing. I like to see Beterbiev I can against like to see him fight against Bivol. Bivol, another one who's been on our channel as well. Callum's only had less than around in 2 years. He won gold for Scotland, the Scotland Commonwealth Games. Yes, I do know that much about Callum Johnson. I do know that much about him. You know, you have 1 round. So I mean, to me, it looks to me he's gonna have to go for it. It's one of those fights. Yeah, you just have to go for it. You just have to go for it, and that's all I can say about it. Go for it. So yeah, that's really much more I can say. Who else? I think Gavin McDonald's fighting tonight. Jesse Vargas is fighting against Thomas Dilmore. Really don't care for that fight. There's not a lot of fights in the card I really care for. Miller, big bully Miller, obviously, because I'd like to see him get beat by Adam. It's not hating. It's just 317 pounds is a disgrace. And he should have been fighting Kubrat Pulev. That's for me is what you call world class cherry picking. And then you've got obviously Jessica fighting. Hopefully, I'll get back in time to be able to do live commentary on that fight. So, and hopefully, I'll get back in time so I can do a bit more of a preview. Right, that's it for now. I should be back later on this evening. And Jessica, if you're listening, wishing you all the very, very best, yourself and Rick Ramos. Speak it, believe it, become it. You guys asked for the fight. You said you wanted a fight in Chicago. You screamed to BWTM about it. Matchroom contacted you. The fight has been made. Now make it count. Make it count. Catterall versus Davis. Oh yes. I don't know what to think about that fight really. But you know, I don't think you can change a person's heart. I think there's expression in boxing. Once a quitter, always a quitter. And I'm not sure how good Davis's chin really is. So if I'm Catterall, I'm thinking to myself, if I can get on the inside and I can hurt this guy again, because remember, boxing, you know, Davis's style, you know, he's always had big flaws in it. Yeah, he's heavy-handed, but he's not the greatest boxer in the world. He can punch, but he's not the greatest puncher in the world. Sorry, he's not the greatest boxer in the world. He's got good punching power, but he's not the greatest boxer in the world. And that goes back to amateur boxing. So if Catterall's had a higher amateur background, amateur pedigree, then I think that will show in this fight as well. I think Ahara Davis, when he moves up in levels, that's where he's going to get exposed each and every time, because the amateur pedigree is what is these guys are. There's always an advantage with these guys. So, you know, their preparations, they've got that experience behind them and how to deal with different styles. I think Ahara Davis won a box cup, Harringay box cup. I'm not knocking what he's done as an amateur, but it's definitely key. And if you look at someone like Anthony Yard, that's exactly why Anthony Yard is not being rushed, because of the same things, the amateur pedigree. That's exactly why Isaac Chamberlain fought the way he did against Coley. Amateur pedigree. So Lawrence, for me, I think it's down to the guy who's got the better amateur pedigree here. It always comes out, but of course, if Davis hits you clean, then you know there's always a possibility your legs could go. So we'll see. I'm going to go back and have a little bit more look at Jack Catterall. But Jack Catterall looked okay, but we'll see. Right, I got to get out of here. I've got another place. I got to get to London. Right, thank you all so much once again. 13,000 subscribers and coming. I'm telling you, we're doing well. Thank you all for your subscriptions. 13,000 subscribers. So I'm over the moon for BWTM Sports. BWTM Online has got now 10,000 subscribers, closing on 11,000 subscribers. So we're going places. Love it. The network is going well and growing. Thank you for your support as always. And we'll see you soon.